Welcome back to the Generation Y. You're with me, Scott Simjeta Keita, and I'm talking to Stati Walter, who is the writer of Heart of Art.
Oh, yes.
I said it right.
You got it right, sir.
The play, of course, focuses on the theme of insecurity in Kenya, of course, having recently seen what happened to the Garissa students. Of course, that really just points out how it is how it is very useful to use art and creative processes to just address social issues.
Oh, yes.
How important do you think it has been for you? How important to just showcase that kind of culture of using art for positive change?
It's been an interesting journey, I would say that, because I believe with the whole of my heart, are people as good as their art? You see, they say that literature and works of art are a mirror to the society. I say at least it's more than that, because literature does not just give you the face, it gives you the soul as well. So engaging in the creative process, as it were, has been very interesting. And having done about 13 scripts so far, and each script very independent in terms of the thematic concerns and the thematic issues, I realize, Scott, that as a nation, as a country, we may not agree politically speaking, but when it comes to the story, every one of us loves a story, and if a story is told so well, a story has enough power to make us break our mental walls and look at each other not from the perspective of you come from wherever or you belong to whatever party, but we look at each other as human beings. And I find that quite rewarding in itself, even if nothing else happens. Just the joy that we can come together and then look at our suffering together and say, yeah, if I went through a loss, like when we're doing The Other Life, we were not interested in who got what right. We were interested in, this is a mother who has lost a daughter. Her pain is real. Her grief is overwhelming, and it was important for us to capture that. Of course, it is always, always, always beautiful if you're working with an amazing cast.
It's true.
And if you check carefully, in our presentation of art, we run away from any tribal suggestions whatsoever. Even in your performance, we do not want you to remind us where you come from. We just need you to tell us the story, hold on the story and tell us that story. So much later you'll know, oh, so this script was by so-and-so. That is not important. Look at the script itself and then assess that story, because we have plans for The Other Life. We intend to perform it in schools. We just want to cause an awakening in young people so that at the end of the day, you know, look at what is happening to Jack. He is a victim of family problems, and then that makes him so vulnerable to radicalization because he already feels disbalanced at family level. And then there is the rallying cry, as in, what do we engage in most likely as young people? And that is what the story tells us. So for us, just telling the story and going through, you know, loss and pain and love and all these things from the story perspective is an amazing journey.
Wow. And you know, even just from telling how you began the whole group, the whole theater group, it really expresses how we, as a country, we have a lot of talent.
Oh, yes.
But what are some of the challenges that, especially in the film art industry, what are some of the greatest challenges that young people are facing?
So far, I would begin to mention where it hits the most: finance. Finance is a huge problem. You would wish that there is more space and more support coming to the young people. Let me break it down for you. The show we did at Alliance, that was 92,000 going just for the whole alone.
Imagine.
So you can look at a new art team that is coming up and you
that
say,
has no sponsorship again.
There is no sponsorship, there is nothing. As in, how do we even, you know, bring a play to Alliance? It's now even harder to do a play at the National Theatre because you need 50,000 per day. And that is minus caution money of 20,000, and you have logistics, and you have whatever. So to do a show one day at the National Theatre right now, you require 80,000. So you look at that and you say, can young people, especially, you know, fresh graduates, it is true that young people don't have money, but they have the energy and they have the zeal. And you know, you do not get someone to sponsor you readily. Like, we really need to know what it is you're doing.
The profits that they'll make out of it.
How are we? You are a new team. How would you be received? You know, what are you doing? So finances are tricky. And you look at young people and you feel, okay, this is a challenge, financially speaking. So unless there is sponsorship coming our way, and we would pray, you know, to the government and whatever the practitioners and everyone working at the National Theatre, it does not make sense for Alliance Concert to be cheaper than our national theatre,
Exactly.
which is subsidized by the government. So
Exactly.
we would ask and demand, because that is the only way. If it is going to talent and we want young people to earn from the National Theatre and from Alliance Francaise, then that is important to look at, because you need to pay the cast. So if you're running a budget of 150,000 for a weekend at the National Theatre, there is marketing, there is the cast to think about, there are costumes, there is the set dressing that has to go into that. So finances is a big issue. But that should not be a discouragement, because if you know what you're looking for, you can begin anywhere. You don't need to begin at Alliance Francaise, and you don't have to begin at the National Theatre. I know friends of mine who are doing amazing theatre works like Peter Tosh, and he performs his plays in church.
Wow.
Right? So he has free space, and it is easy to get an audience to come and watch a professional theatre piece in church. So we have to be wise and creative and see how best can we maneuver around that, because by the time we are coming to Alliance Francaise, we are coming to the National Theatre, we're not coming there empty-handed. We are coming there and we already packaged. And once you know what you're doing, like this is what I do, identify the point of differentiation. What makes you unique as a theatre team? As in, what makes Hearts of Art different from Heartstrings and different from Phoenix Players, for example, from FCA, for example. Once you know that point, people will come to buy you because of what you believe in. And opportunities will come when you're doing something, not when you sit back and you say, I would rather you say this might surprise most of our viewers, but most of the time, even as of today, we do our rehearsals from Central Park. We rehearse from Central Park and then go to the National Theatre.
Because you know, when people see plays in Alliance, they usually have this picture of how glamorous everything is, forgetting all the struggle that's behind it.
Building a play, like when we were performing at National Theatre in September, we were there on 5th, 6th, you know, we rehearsed the entire play from Central Park. It's free. That's what we thank our country for. There is free acting space. You can get it. Of course, the weather will affect. But if you know, we believe what we're doing is greater than the challenges we are going through. So that is number one, the finances. Number two would be how reliable is the cast? And what is the character of the cast you're dealing with? Because sometimes I hear guys struggle. You know, you have a play opening in 1 hour, and your lead actor is not there. He's drunk somewhere. You know, so. And then there is the mentality.
So a lot of discipline again.
Lots of discipline. You know, you need to package. And our unique challenge as Hearts of Art, our membership is drawn ideally from mostly the university students. When we began, most of them had just finished high school, so we had like a whole year to work with them to develop the art. Now they're in college, and you see, harmonizing rehearsal alongside their academic requirement, which is also important, becomes a challenge. Next month we are performing in Uganda. November from 20th, 21st, and 22nd.
Amazing. And there's something unique about how other industries out of Kenya are quite kind of ahead of us.
Oh, yes.
What's unique about them that's not here in Kenya?
I would suggest strongly it is the support they receive in terms of the consumption of the local content. I was in Uganda together with our executive producer and the chair of Hearts of Art. It's a Wednesday. The theatre opens at 2, Theatre La Bonita. It's a 5-star theatre, a 1,000-seater, and it's packed on a Wednesday. Where do you get guys to watch a play on a Wednesday in this country? You know? Look at Nigeria. The film industry is exploding. You may not like their content, but you cannot ignore them.
You cannot ignore, exactly. You know, most people say, I don't watch Nigerian movies, they are so whack. But most of the time you just find yourself glued to them. And it's not because they have more financial muscle, but it's because their creative processes and the support they get.
So Nigeria, I think they have got the best example in Africa of how people can promote their own, because they are the biggest consumers of their own film products. So you feel if you outside the country, guys consume, and perhaps that could be a challenge about Kenyan art at the same time, because look at how we consume our local products. Look at the following on our local programs. Of course, so many things will come into consideration, the kind of content we are putting on there, the kind of acting. Like if I am to watch Mali or I'm supposed to watch Empire, most likely I'm going to watch Empire and not Mali. And that's a rallying call for all of us who are involved in the film industry. We need to get our content right. We need to get the script right. We need to get the acting right. Guys are not just going to buy anything
because it's Kenyan.
Because it's Kenyan. No, we will demand quality. You know, we will consume quality and demand quality. And for us to get to that point where we actually have quality, it will take some time. but we can begin the process.
Amazing stuff.
Yes.
Well, it was, of course, this discussion could go on for another hour or so.
Yes.
But of course, we are sure to have you back on the Generation Y when we get to see what some of the other projects that you're doing.
Yes, oh yes.
And of course, right now you're going to Uganda.
Oh yeah, we are going to Uganda
So
in November.
bring us good news from Uganda.
We will definitely come. And we're also coming on TV soon.
Exactly.
We have 2 TV projects. We have Killing Silence, and we have the first legitimate Kenyan sitcom featuring the youngest middle class.
Amazing.
As in, these are not poor people on screen. They are rich people on screen, telling us stories that we can laugh about and interact with. Oh yes.
This is going to be revolutionary because I mean in Kenya we've not seen that kind of revolutionary sitcoms coming on the
They're
screens.
coming, you know. Next time you check, perhaps we might talk after this.
Of course. You never
Simple
know.
Men coming again, you know.
Awesome
Beautiful, beautiful sitcom.
Thank you so much, Walter, for coming through.
It's been a pleasure, Scott.
It's been a pleasure to have you on the Generation Y.
Oh, yes,
And
sir.
we'll be sure to have you back. And of course, stay tuned for more and some of the clips of Walter and his group doing their thing on stage. And you're watching the Generation Y. See you next time.